Okay, so we are continuing with our project, and in the last video, things didn't quite turn out the way we were hoping. We were getting problems which were... am trying to accomplish the task of being able to vectorize the images, or not the images, sorry, the videos from their description. So I'm trying to get their description, vectorize that, and store it into one of the associated embedding column. And we were running into some issues while that was occurring. Now, I think one of the reasons is because we don't have that actual model. So I need to go in, get that model, and figure out how to accomplish that. So this one is saying that I need to go into Hugging Face repository and then get these two files. So I can't just put Hugging Face repository, like Hugging Face, okay. But then what is the actual model name that we're looking for? Because I don't think it's the whatever we just saw, right? Like the model dot on X. I have no idea what that is. I don't think that's, if I just type that, this isn't going to help me at all. Right? Network exchange, which allows... vocab, the dictionary used. Okay. Let me see if I can find that actual model though. Is it this one? Like, what is the embeddings? Where are we doing that using? Where are we even doing the embeddings? I can't remember. Budget service would not be in here. I believe it's in campaign cache is where we do the embeddings. So, okay, should be down here, yes. To array. Where is my embedder? What? Where did my... Here this is. Now where is... Here's my embedder. Okay, so now I think this is what I'm actually looking for. This model here. All mini LM V or L6 V2. Do we see any of the actual files that we're looking for? Code search. Fine, maybe I'll just click that link. This is the one that it says. Do I trust it? Huggingface.co. What was the other one? Huggingface.co. Okay, fine. I don't have much of a choice. I have to trust it. But why was I unable to... This one is sentence... It's the same thing, right? Did I just not click? Oh, I should have clicked files. Okay. Fine. So we have this here. Vocab.text. And what was the other one that it was looking for? It was looking for like models or something. This one? Models.json. What is this? It's just a whole bunch of unused. What is this? Well, here's Chinese. Nian, Ping, Di, Shi, Zhou, Chuan. Like, that's just a whole bunch of words? Now. Okay. 1926, very specific. 1912, Bureau, Cape. Okay. Interesting. Sentence.txt. Or vocab.txt. Oh, the vocabulary words. The words that it's allowed to use, maybe? Okay, let me go back to Gemini and read what it says that I need to do. Okay, you need two specific files from this. So model.onx, I'm not seeing that there. The actual neural network, okay? And then vocab.txt, the dictionary, the model used to understand words, okay? Create a folder in your project, source bit engine model, okay? What is in what is in this model thing? This one. Is it okay, so I'm seeing a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm just gonna open, what's this say? Okay, anyways, I don't know. So I can download this, right? Okay. I guess this is what I need, right? Download. Okay. Now I should be able to come in here and do models. Source bit engine model, okay. Source bit engine. Then I have something called models, right? That's not what we want. I can't even find it. It doesn't matter. Models. Okay. singular. Okay. Okay, there we go. And now inside of here, I want to put that thing. Okay. This one, right? I want this inside of model. Okay. Now, I want to go back here and we wanted this vocab.txt. Oh, I guess I could have pressed the other download. This one. Okay. And okay. I guess I have to press that download. This one, vocab.txt here. Okay. And do I put that in the same place? Drop both files into that folder. Okay. Come here and we should be able to get this one. Right? Drop it in there. Vocab.txt. Okay. And we can let's status it. Adding the two models files for the embedding. Okay. So now what I can do is I have both of those, and then in my Docker file I do need to copy them over, right? That makes sense. So my Docker compose, wherever you are, you're down here, okay. Maybe it would be my Docker file for Bitengine. So where would I do it? Because I know that the order does matter in that you don't want to be copying over huge amounts every time something changes. Okay. How to revert. Okay, this is, we already did that. Now, okay. Here is my Docker file for my Bitengine. Where should I put the copy line which you stated above? The other thing that I am wondering about is when I went to the website, I saw a whole bunch of other stuff there. I went into the folder which has, what was it, ONX? ONNX, okay. And downloaded the one which said, oh, what did it say? Then I went back to the homepage and got the one which said vocab.txt. I put both of those files into my model folder in my project, as can be seen from my tree. Do you think everything is correct now? Alright, so now what I'm going to do is tree minus L and 4 like this. Okay. Like so. Okay. This is the weights, this is the vocabulary. It's interesting because is this how large language models work? Like, when I was in college, I dealt with neural nets, but this is before ChatGPT even existed. So, I don't know how I don't know how large language models specifically work. If this is something which allows me to get in and understand how they work, that's actually kind of cool. Your tree structure looks correct by placing model folder inside source engine. Okay, updating the Docker file. In your Docker file, the .NET publish command is likely ignoring the model folder because it isn't code. We need to make sure that those changes. Okay, here's where to put the copy line. Right above .NET publish. Okay. So we have the .NET build. Okay. Wait, hold on. Since you reverted your code and now have the files, add service is looking in the correct spot. Inside your C# code, the all mini LM embedder usually looks for a folder. Since your Docker work directory is app, you've copied the model to app model, did I? It says model right there. Oh, this is build. App. Model. Okay. So we probably need to add that line as well. But first, let's understand like why we're doing it. Okay. Since you reverted your code and now you have the files in a specific place, make sure your add engine data service or campaign cache is looking in the right spot. Okay. Inside your C# code, this one usually looks for a folder. Since Docker working directory is app and you've copied the model folder to app model, your code should point there. Okay. So embedder and look for model. Okay. So I'm going to come into here. I am then going to find this embedder, okay, and I'm going to say mod, okay, yes, but go away. Model, okay. Model, okay, like this. Can you explain the Docker file more to me? Question mark. When I initially told you that I was running into the problems, I did not explicitly copy anything over, comma, but my entire at that time. At that time, I didn't even have either one of those files inside my project. I hadn't downloaded them, and I didn't have any folder called model because I thought that the NuGet package would have everything, period. So I have not actually run my code to see if everything was working. So do I still need to explicitly type out copy for those paths? And if so, why do I need to do that? And I noticed that you copied twice. Can you explain why you're doing it twice? Okay. All right. So why didn't the NuGet? I understand that part. Okay. I think I do. Let me just cursory glance at it. Normally, when you install a NuGet package like JSON Swift, it only has DLLs, the compiled code. Yep. However, AI models are binary assets, okay? Because they are huge. Package authors usually leave them out to keep the download small, okay? They expect you to provide the brain, the model files manually, okay? When you ran the code before, you didn't have the files on your Mac, yes? So they couldn't be in your Docker image. Now that you've downloaded them, we have to ensure Docker sees them, okay? That makes sense. Do you still need to explicitly type copy? Yes. Okay, good. Because I want to understand. Awesome. Here's a misunderstanding that I have. Where does my conceptual understanding, where is that gap? Okay. Yes, here's the fundamental rule of Docker. Docker is blind to your hard drive. But we're copying over my entire, where's my Docker file? But like in here, we're copying over the entire like folder, right? Docker is blind to your hard drive. When you run docker build, Docker starts with a completely empty computer, the image. It can only see files that you explicitly tell it to copy from your Mac into that image. If you don't copy the model folder, your code will look for it inside the container, find nothing, and crash, even if the files are sitting perfectly in your MacBook, okay? Why did I copy twice? The multi-stage build. So I remember we saw about this when we were initially doing Docker, and the reason is because a multi-stage build is something in Docker that you're trying to save on, like, reuse, or not reuse, but like essentially cached items that have already been uh, accomplished. So you don't want to redo work. I think that's what was going on. Your Docker file is a multi-stage build. It has two separate computers inside it to keep the final image small, okay? So the builder here is a big, heavy image that has all the tools to turn code into a runnable app, okay? The first copy, this copy right here, brings my CS files, yeah, all of Bitengine, and my new model into the kitchen. Yeah, but why did I need to do it again? That was my question. Um, when you run .NET Publish, the compiler gathers everything it thinks it needs and puts it into a folder called app. All right, the final image. This one right here from Microsoft at ASP.NET is a tiny, lightweight image that only knows how to run the app. It doesn't have a compiler. Okay? This copy from Builder line takes the finished meal from the kitchen and puts it on the plate. Okay? Wait, do I actually need the second copy? If you look closely at my previous suggestions, I said if publish didn't pick it up automatically. Yes, exactly. This is what I'm curious about. Add this explicit copy. By default, .NET Publish only grabs files that are mentioned in your CS project. If your models folder isn't mentioned there, the builder stage will have the folder, but the .NET Publish command will ignore it, so it won't make it to the app, and therefore won't make it to the final image. To be safe and professional, do this in your Docker file. After Docker build, yes, we have the model goes to model. Publish, app, and builder. Publish, app, builder, okay. And then manually copy it here again. This is a safety net if .NET Publish ignores the folder. This line forces, okay. Fine, but the thing that I was just concerned about is, like, if we're copying over a huge thing twice and we don't need to, and then here we're already copying it over, so we're copying it one time, we're copying it, or no, not this one, we're copying it one time, we're copying it two times, we're copying it three times. Okay, so let's see how to verify that it works. I'm gonna go like this and say, does this look correct? Question mark. Like this. Yeah, it looks correct. Okay, cool. So now what I want to do, I actually kind of think I want to just run an API endpoint. It's going to be easier. I don't want to, the reason is because I don't want to be dealing with all of this Docker thing. If this second command, okay. We're just checking if it's there. That's fine. I remember it was telling me about the arguments. I don't want the arguments anymore. Okay. This one. I want a controller. Okay. let's see, command flag. Okay. Previously, you told me about two different methods of creating a option to be able to talk to the specific method which will perform the vectorization. In the past, I was going towards the flag vector, the flag, whatever it was, the flag method. But this is starting to become annoying because my computer only has 8 gigabytes of RAM and the Docker uses 4 at resting. So I am trying to minimize the number of times that I need to build with Docker. My first question is now, how can I use the API endpoint instead of the flag method? And my second question is going to be, is there any way that I can get the Docker desktop to stop using 4 gigs of memory? Okay. Let's see. And machine learning models simultaneously. Yeah. Let's solve the bleeding memory first, then look at the API. How to use API endpoint instead of... Then look at the API endpoint. Let's look at the API endpoint. It's like, okay. I thought we were going to do that second. The implementation in big controller. So add a new post method. Since your renamed service, it would look like this. Okay. So we want to go into controllers. And let's actually just type this out ourselves. Bid controller. It's not really a bid controller, is it? Kind of. Okay, whatever. Can you please go here? Can you go like this? Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Disposable instance. The reason the flag method was annoying is likely because of the build time. Yes. Pro tip to avoid rebuilding. You don't actually need Docker compose build every time you change a single line of C# code. If you use bind mounts in your Docker compose file. However, for 8 gigs, the fastest way is make your code changes, build locally on your Mac once to check for errors, and then only run compose build. Okay. If we get a compilation error. Okay. Reduce Docker RAM. Drop the slider to 2 gigs in Docker desktop settings right now. This will give your Mac 2 gigabytes of breathing room. Oh, okay. Interesting. Might be able to do that. I didn't see that option, but if that's there, that's actually really helpful. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of what we're going to do. Add the nuclear option. Many Mac developers with 8 gigs stop using Docker Desktop entirely and use Columna. It is a lightweight alternative that runs via the terminal and uses significantly less background RAM. I could, although I want the word Docker on my resume, so Right? You know, if you want to be even structure, you can create a new file here. Swap space. Okay. Resources 4 to 2. Note 2 is usually the minimum to run Postgres, Redis, and a .NET. If you go lower, the database might crash. We could even try this to go down to 3. Yeah. Okay. So let's write this out ourselves. And I can close that. I can move this over. Put myself down here. And now it seems like we are doing a completely new post, right? We're doing a completely new class. So this is controller base. So, okay, we're going to do a completely new class out here, right? This one is going to be same thing, API controller. And now route here is going to be API controller. Okay. This public class admin controller inherits from controller base. Okay. Here we go. So now private read only add in data service. That is going to be incorrect because we haven't changed the name yet. And I don't quite want to change the name because that's going to break everything else. And then we're changing 2 variables at the same time. I want to change one variable, see if it works, change the other variable. Okay. Underscore data service. Okay. We can still call it data service. Like, that's not going to affect anything. We would just need to change this because, yeah, as of right now, it's not even recognized, which makes sense why it wouldn't be recognized because we haven't, it doesn't exist. Okay, so now public admin controller. So we're creating a constructor here, and we do not want add engine data service. We want a campaign cache, right? Campaign cache data service. Okay. Like this. Okay. And then just setting those equal to each other. Okay. Data service equals data service, like that. And now we create a post request to this seed vectors here. Okay. Public async. And now we're doing a task which results in something, and it's called seed vectors. Okay. What does this return or like come back into? I action result. I don't know too much about that, but it's some kind of interface. Okay. Now await this data service dot generate embedding for all videos. Yeah, that makes sense because we're calling that method. Okay. And return an OK status with whatever. The vectorization has been completed. Okay, like this, and we should be good, I think. Once Docker containers are up, open your Mac and run this right here. Okay. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should we try it? Should we do it? Okay. It's probably going to crash because we haven't lowered the memory yet. I tried closing out a lot of my tabs, but whenever I go to the activity manager, it's still like, it's at 7 out of 8. And I'm like, ugh. And there's one process, it's the Docker engine here, or Docker desktop, and it's using 4. I'm like, come on now, can we bring this down? Okay, anyways, let's Docker compose build. Okay. So we're going to do that. Hopefully it will build everything into the images, and then we'll be able to someone from Turkey is trying to call me. I think no. All right. Cool. So Docker compose build, go. It's going actually much faster. We're already on 24. Yesterday, in the last video, it was like, it took about 2 or 3 minutes just to get to like 15 or something. It was awful. Okay, so here okay, is it gonna build? 2 warnings, 0 errors. Okay. Oh, did I do the second Docker file one? Let me make sure that I actually changed that. Yeah, okay, I did put it in there. Okay. Okay, there we go. It finally built it. All right. Here we go. So let's do Docker compose up. Okay. We're going to do that, and then we will do that curl command. So I might crash a little bit when this is building because it normally does that. Okay. So far, so good. So far I haven't noticed that I've crashed. Okay, I'm still here, making sure that I'm not glitching out. Okay. Are we up yet? Let me run. Let's see, I want Safari, right? Yes. Here we go. And I want to check my ads, and I'm going to press enter, see if we get new ads, which we do. So we're up and running. Okay. So now from curl, I want to do this, and let's see if we get any errors. Okay. Then I need to come here. Okay. This bid engine here. Press go. Okay. And let's see if we got an error here. So I'm going to copy this, paste this into Gemini. Like this, and then I need to come here and see if we crashed. Okay. Up to here. Because I saw some stuff about Hugging Face, right? And obviously the way that I would normally do this if I didn't have the AI is I would try to go in and check my Docker or my volume of the... I would go in, try to query Docker, Postgres, and see those columns myself, but LLMs are normally pretty good at analyzing text data. So let's see. I see fail. Let's see. When working with Hugging Face, it means Onyx files isn't actually the AI model. It's a small text file that looks like a model but contains only a link. When the Onyx file tries to read, it immediately fails. Why did this happen? When you download the Hugging Face Files tab, if you click the file name instead of the download icon, the little arrow pointing down serves you a pointer file instead of the 90 megabyte binary. Okay. So come in here. Let's see. Run tests. Okay, I'm not seeing like analyze or anything. We have this, which is the full thing, but it's complaining that this one is not, right? Okay. So remove it. Maybe just do this command. Okay. Verify the size of it. Let's verify the size right now. Let's do that first. Okay. So where are we? We want to go into source bid engine. Yeah, that's correct. Looks right to me. Because you copied the Docker file, you must rebuild. Okay. I didn't change anything in my project, and I checked my model file with the command you gave to me, and it seems to be the correct size. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Okay. You definitely have the real model. and not a fake pointer. Yeah, because I didn't press something. The error protobuf parse failed is happening because of how the library is trying to open that file rather than the file being missing or small. The culprit model versus here. In your stack trace, I noticed a line at Microsoft ML Onyx runtime interface session at Bitengine service in here, okay? Inside your campaign cache, you are likely passing the string model into the folder name, yes, into the embedder constructor. The Onyx runtime is trying to open the folder itself as if it were a file. Because it's a folder, isn't a valid protobuf. Hold on. What's a protobuf mean? What does a protobuf mean? Oh, the file format for AI models. I understand that you said it is a file format for AI models, but I am trying to understand the AI field more. Okay, that's fine. Because a model isn't a valid protobuf, it crashes. Okay. So first off, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna take this down. Okay, because we need to rebuild anyways. So now the fix, go to the Bitengine campaign cache or wherever you initialize the embedder, okay, and look at the construction call. Change this here, which is what I did. This looks for a file name model, which doesn't exist. It's a folder. And now I want to do model dot on it. Awesome. That now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. Okay. So now from my campaign cache here, I want to go in and I want to say, hey, we're currently in Bitengine, right? Or actually, we're in the Docker. We're in the Docker container. And you are currently at app. Go into app. Like, app is going to have model. Because app means Bitengine, right? App means model. And then go into model and then get this model. So here, and then wait, which one is it? It's that one. Okay, this one. Onyx. Okay, and then we do that twice, and then once here. Model dot Onyx. Okay. So why this happened, library is a bit picky. If you pass nothing, it looks for the root here. If you pass a string, it assumes that a string is the exact path. Okay, and not a directory. One more check, the tokenizer. If you fix the path, you might get a second error about vocab.txt. Alright, to be 100, well, I didn't even do anything about a tokenizer. Hold up. Create a tokenizer pointing to the vocab. Yeah, okay. The second thing is I am trying to understand conceptually what's going on with Docker to be able to help my learning. Can you tell me if what I am saying is correct? Okay, so what I want to say is when I run my Docker file to build the image, I have the working directory as app. This corresponds to my local MacBook's Bitengine location, where the Docker file is actually living, period. Okay. So when the project is actually being ran when I have the line model slash model ONNX. Okay. This will correspond to what? This corresponds to the current Docker container, which is being ran, app, because app is where Bitengine is on my local device. Then I go into the models folder and grab the model file. Okay, there we go. That's number 2. Number 3 is going to be, as of right now, I have nothing with this idea of a tokenizer. Was I supposed to do this before? Question mark. But now that you bring it up, I'm curious about what it is. Why did I not have to do it in the past? Question mark. Okay. So let's actually write this tokenizer before we get too far. So it's before we actually... Okay, so var tokenizer is equal to new tokenizer, okay? And then we go into, and then model. So we're here, we go into model, and then we get vocab text, okay? Just like what it says here, yep. Like that. And now we want to do that up here. So like this. Okay. And then we pass in the tokenizer like this. Tokenizer. Okay. As the second parameter. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing here. Tokenizer. Okay. Awesome. So now we have this, and now I'm going to ask the questions first, and then I'm going to ask, does it look right? Okay. To help you understand AI and DevOps, world you're currently navigating, let's break down 3 concepts you're actually asking. Very insightful questions and touch on. Okay. What is a protobuf? I need more coffee. Okay. So, what is a protobuf? A short protocol buffers. Short protocol. So protobuf is short for, there we go, protocol buffers. Protocol buffers, okay. It's a way of packing data into a tiny, super fast binary format. It was created by Google, okay. Protobufs. So you're taking a large thing of data and trying to squeeze it into binary format, okay? The analogy, think of JSON or XML like a handwritten letter. It's easy for humans to read, but it's bulky because it has all of those extra labels. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Protobuf is like shorthand or secret code. Instead of writing name, it might just use number 1. It's impossible for a human to read without the decoder ring, but computers can process it 10 to 100 times faster than JSON. Okay, that makes sense now. In AI, most models like yours in O and in an X format are essentially massive mathematical objects saved as protobuf files. When your code said protobuf parsing failed, it was basically saying I tried to read the secret code, but it's gibberish to me, okay? So now, conceptualizing Docker, are you correct? You are mostly correct, okay? But there's one critical distinction you need to make to truly get Docker. Your mental model. When you think of Docker app as a mirror or shortcut of your Mac folder, the reality, the Docker app is a photocopy, okay? When you run Docker build, Docker takes a snapshot of your Mac's files, copies them into a brand new isolated virtual hard drive. Once the build is finished, the virtual hard drive is frozen. Okay, yeah, I got that. I was just trying to make sure that I was understanding how the working directory is interacting with the location on my MacBook. Okay, I think we are conceptually in alignment. Why this matters for your path. When your code runs inside of the container, it says go to my current app folder. Look for the folder named models. Okay. On your MacBook, this exists in source bitengine models. In the container, it exists at app models because your Docker file had the line copy source engine there. Okay, yeah. Your code works because you make sure the photocopy inside the container looks exactly the same. Yeah, okay, awesome. So now we're going to go and start looking at the tokenizer. Why haven't you seen it until now? This is a great question. You haven't seen it because it was hidden inside the library you were using. Okay. Do I have more? This cup is out. This cup is full. Time for a second cup. Okay. So, what is a tokenizer? AI models cannot read words. It only understands numbers. So, tokenizers turns the string hello into the number 15,432. Okay? The model takes the number 15K and does math to turn it into a vector. A list of 384 decimals. So that's that vector that we're trying to get, right? Why did you not have to do this in the past? In the trial and error code Copilot likely gave you, the library was probably trying to be smart and find the vocab text file automatically in the root folder, but you moved it into a subfolder called modules. The library got lost and couldn't find the dictionary to start tokenizing, so it crashed. Now that we're being more professional and organized, with our folders, we have to be explicit when we tell the code. Use the dictionary here, use the brain here, okay? This video explains how text is converted into numbers, which is core, okay. So can you walk me through how we take a human word such as hello and turn it into a vector? You said that this is going to be 384 dimensions, which matches up exactly to that dimensionality which I was told to put in my database. I'm guessing that this is obviously not a coincidence. So does this mean if my description was only one word, that that is the vector which would be inside of it? Question mark. Now, to further my question, what happens when we have multiple words making up smaller tokens which are inside of my vocabulary list. How does it go into hello from the United States? Okay, kind of like this. All right, natural language processing. You're exactly right. The 384 in your database are the result of specific mathematical processes that turn human thought into spatial coordinates. Here's a step-by-step journey of how the string hello from the United States becomes a vector. So phase number 1, the tokenizer, the paper shredder. All right. Oh yeah, I should have said it. Use it in terms of analogy and characters, and because that's a really nice way of, at least for me, that I was able to understand things. All right. So the paper shredder. The model doesn't see the sentence as one big block. It uses a technique called word piece tokenization. Okay? Word piece tokenization. I'm going to write that down too. So now, in context of tokenization, I have one which is called word piece tokenization. Word piece tokenization. Okay. So it checks vocab.txt file you just downloaded. Splitting hello is a common word. It gets ID here, okay? From the United States are all common. They get their own IDs. Complex words. If you have words like add simulator, okay, the tokenizer would shred it. Add this simulator. So these double hashtags tell the model this piece is stuck to the previous one. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay. So that's how it gets the complex words. Okay. The model always adds a class token at the start. This is the most important part of your project. So your sentence is now a list of integers. So this is probably the class, right? Because here's the 792. Here's the whatever from the hello from the United States. Okay. Oh, and then there's a something there. But I noticed that this is 101 and this is 102. I think that might not be a coincidence. Maybe this means that this is one specific block. Class token at the start. This is the most, okay. So the embedding layer, the coordinate map. Now the model looks at each of those IDs and pulls a mini vector for each one. A mini vector for each one, okay? The word hello has a pre-trained row of 384 numbers. These numbers were decided during the model's training by reading billions of sentences, okay? If your description was one word, the model would still produce a 384 dimension vector. The size of the vector is fixed, the model's architecture, not the length of the text, okay? The transformer. This is where the magic happens. A word's meaning changes based on its neighbors. Bank. In the river, bank gets a different vector than bank account. Okay. So this specific model that we're trying to use has 6 layers of attention. It looks at every word in your sentence and adjusts the 384 numbers based on the other words. So United States or United and States will pull on each other's value to create a combined concept of country. Okay. So all of those vectors are inputs. All of this is inputs to the neural network. I'm trying to map it back to the neural networks because that's kind of what I know. Okay. The final summary. After the math is done, you have a 384 dimension vector for every single token. But your database has room for 1 vector per video. 384 vector for every single token. Okay. The model performs pooling. It takes each of those 384 dimension vectors, 1 for each word. It calculates the average of each column. Okay. The result, 1 single average 384 dimensional vector that represents the vibe of the entire sentence. Oh, that's so cool. That's so smart. Okay. To answer your specific questions, if my description was only 1 word, is that the vector? Yes, it would be 384 dimension vector. However, even for 1 word, the model adds the CLS and the step token. So technically, it's 3. Okay, so these things were not random, as I pointed out. Okay, yes. What happens with multiple words? They are compressed into the same 384 dimension space, which is called a dense vector. It's trying to pack the entire meaning of the hello from the United States into the same amount of storage space as the word hello. Okay. Why this works for your ads. In your Postgres database, the vector for video traveling to New York will be semantically close using cosine similarity to an advertisement for flights to the USA. Because the model learned during training that New York and USA belong in the same neighborhood of that 384 dimensional map. Now that you understand why, are you ready to update your C# code so we can get it? Yes. So let me come here and say, like this. Does this look right? Question mark. All right. Anyways, let's do that. Designed to be very simple when you provide a custom. You should use logger. Yeah, that makes sense. Just counting. Awesome. So let's try it again. Let's docker compose build, and then we need to do the docker up. And then from that, I can do that curl command. And we'll see if we get another error. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we can do the docker compose up. We run this and wait for this to start working. We can come to here once this decides that it wants to relax a little bit. We can come here and try to check our ads to see if they successfully load. And then from that, we should be able to do that curl command and see if everything is up. So looks like it's doing Kafka right now. Let's refresh the page, see if we get anything. Okay, it looks like we are loading. Yep, so we're good. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to clear this, right? Clear this, okay. And then run this curl command. It's not immediately crashing. Look at this. So I'm going to come here, paste that into there, and now paste this into here, right? I think it was successful. Would you agree with me? Question mark. And what is the command that I can use now that my Docker is currently running to go into the Postgres database and verify that the vector for the videos have been successfully updated? If you need more context on the structure of my Postgres database, feel free to ask follow-up questions or tell me the commands that would give you the information that you need. Okay. That the vectorization is okay, combined with the log showing select query looking for embedding is null is very strong sign. Okay. The fact that your didn't crash with a protobuf error means Mata loaded, the tokenizer worked, and the math was performed. How to verify? Okay, so now we want to go in and so this Docker exec thing, that's what this copilot kept failing on. I actually kind of want to know what this command is doing. I know that we're commanding to Docker, we're doing an execution, we're saying interactive mode, right? We're trying to get this ads DB database Postgres user here. Select title, left embedding is not null. Okay. Go inside your database container, assuming the name is addsdb. Okay. See what this does. I don't know. Okay, here is my Docker Compose. Here. And here's this. Okay. And what were we supposed to see? We were supposed to see something like this. Like, if it works, you should see a table like this. Like, okay, interesting. All right. But you gave the specific name here. Okay. All right. Let's do this and paste it here. Okay. So now they're all 15, which is not what we want to see, actually. Okay. Copy this and paste this here. Notice that they are all 0.15, which means that I don't think that the operation was successful. I think that this is the default number which we placed in for all of the 300 some vector dimensions. Now, this brings up a point that I think what we might be doing is checking if it is null, and if it's not null, not even performing the vectorization. Okay, let's see if we do that. Did it? Huh? Yeah, okay. That was annoying. Okay. Generate for all here. Notice that all of the vectors are 0.15, which indicates that the default number which I initially placed into all of the vectors when I did my SQL startup script is still remaining there. This indicates that the vectorization or the storing or some part went wrong. Oops. Okay. Here is my method, and I know that we called it because we hit the print line statement. Can you analyze my method and see if you see a problem with it? And also update it such that we have more debugging so we know where it might fail, period. Maybe it fails during the embedding. Maybe it fails during the saving. Maybe it fails along multiple different ways. I don't really know. That's up to you to decide what and where it might be failing, period. Okay, it's actually a good sign and a specific type of failure. It means the database is working, but your C# isn't actually overriding that column, is producing a default value. Here's the breakdown of why it's happening and a battle-hardened version of your code to fix it. Okay, so why it's likely failing. EF core tracking. When you iterate through the stream, sometimes loses track of the objects if its context is being used for other things. Doesn't see that you changed the embedding property. What? That you changed the embedding property will literally do nothing. So if it doesn't see that I changed that property, model loading issue. If the Onyx model fails to load, the description is blank, the vector rail might empty, and the code skips the update. If PG vector isn't properly registered in appdb context, entity framework core might, okay. Super debugging version. Before I do that, I'm gonna quit out of here. Okay, and I do want to do git add here status, okay, commit, and now what I want to do is updated my code to take in the models properly and ensure correct path locations. Okay, push origin, and then feature is going to be this semantic search. Push that out to GitHub, and it wonder if that's going to take a long time because of our big models that we have now. Okay. While we're doing that, let's read. That's the perfect time to read. Okay. So I have added explicit state tracking and value inspection to this version. Replace your current method with this. Starting bulk vectorization, okay. Tokenizer, fetch all IDs here. Found videos to process, okay. I think it did it, right? Is larger than GitHub's recommended maximum file size of 50 megabytes. Yeah, well, if it did it, it's okay with me. So we select this where null. Yeah, so I don't want this where null, actually. I think that's where it's going on, right? Where it doesn't have an embedding yet. Or I think this is our problem right there. Okay. Or the embedding to array is equal to 15. Wait, 15. Yeah, I think that's our problem because we were grabbing everything that was null, but nothing is null because we set the default to 0.15. So it's like found videos. Okay. And now we can come here, to array. Okay. Check if model is actually giving us real numbers. Okay. Video embedding. I kind of want to just run this one right here and see if it works, but I also don't want to run it twice. So what I might do is copy this. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Are you ready? Paste this, and then move this up, right? Okay. Like this for all videos too. With debugging, okay, with debugging like this, and now go into my API endpoint. I think you guys see where I am going with this. That way I don't need to compile it twice. Like, if this one works, I want to know, like, okay, that was the problem. We're good now. Awesome. But I also want the ability to just hit another endpoint without needing to recompile everything. So now what I want to do is this exact same thing. So I'm going to come here and then say like this, right? Seed vectors with yes, but I don't want you to tell me what to do right now with debugging. Debugging is going to be seed vectors with debug, okay? And now I don't want this one. I want with debugging. Okay. So now I have both of those, which means I should be able to do this, rebuild it, let it do its thing, pasted that in there. What was affected? Okay, so I should read the code and try to understand like how it's operating. All right. So we do this one, that makes sense, right? And now I say found this many videos, video IDs.count, okay, and that comes from here. So I'm getting all of the videos, I'm making it a list, okay, for each ID in here. I want to do await, find asynchronous, so I find the actual video, right? If video is null, description, okay, so it looks like this is up. I'm going to run docker compose up and keep reading while that is doing its thing. Debug, check if the model is actually giving us real numbers. Then do this, get a PG, do the embedding, okay? we live? Yes, we are. Okay. So now I want to do the same curl command. This one. And now I'm hitting the one without the debugging, okay? Okay, and we do have new things here. So this looks like a failure, okay? Okay, interesting. So now what I want to try is, I'm going to come here, I'm going to paste this into here, okay? And then I'm going to come and do the exact same curl command, seed vectors with debugging, right? And we are going to hit this one here, okay? And we'll probably get another error, but that's fine because we have more debugging here. And then with, oh, what, Mom? Yeah? With this, we should be able to take this here and paste it here, right? And it should work. Or it should tell us. Why it crashed. When you write, I tried to translate that into raw SQL, however Postgres, even with PG Vector, doesn't understand. You know what? Let's, I'm going to try to figure this out later. I think I'm going to end the video. My family's doing stuff for Christmas, so I will be, I think I'm going to go and visit my uncles. So I will end the video here. I will then come back later, try to understand this problem, try to fix this problem, and hopefully get stuff working, okay? I think that is the plan. So if you want to join me along on this journey, subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you around. And yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully we will get this all fixed out, okay? So awesome. I should be able to actually close this too so that it's not burning up my memory. Okay, awesome. Goodbye.